All right, let's dive in. Let's talk about something that's been coming up in a lot of conversations lately. Has your frequency changed? I mean, that's a pretty important question to ask yourself as you continue on this journey to step into your higher self, right? As you go through the process of basically controlling your reality by shifting your consciousness, things start to happen to you internally. Naturally, you start wondering, is the work I'm doing actually changing me? Has my energy shifted? That's not just some vague spiritual nonsense. It's real, and being aware of whether your frequency has changed is incredibly important because if you're not paying attention, you can slip back into those old patterns. And the thing is, those old patterns will happily welcome you back with open arms if you're not careful. So, in this video, I'm going to break it down for you. Not only will I give you some clear signs to help you figure out whether your frequency has changed, but also, and this is key, we're going to explore something very sneaky that happens. Your old frequency, the one you've worked hard to shift away from, has a habit of trying to trick you. Yup, it'll try to pull you back into its grip. And if you're not aware of how that happens, you'll find yourself stuck in old ways with that inner dialogue going, why am I back here again? Well, this is why, so hang tight because we've got a lot to unpack. I'll make sure you leave this video armed with the tools to recognize these shifts and stay grounded in your new frequency. I mean, we've all been there at some point, right? You're putting in the work, you're meditating, visualizing, maybe practicing affirmations regularly, you're doing the inner work, and on some level, you're feeling a change. But then doubt starts creeping in. Why hasn't my reality shifted yet? Why do I still feel stuck in the same loop? That's where this video comes in handy, just to remind you that once you make a shift internally, your physical reality will catch up. Eventually, but first, you must recognize if that shift has truly happened inside you. All right, let's set the foundation. Before anything can change physically, anything you want to manifest in your life, whether that's a new job, a relationship, more clarity, or even inner peace, it first has to exist vibrationally. That's the rule of the game. My friend, you want something? You've got to be in sync with the frequency of that thing. If you're not, it's either not coming, it's going to take forever, or when it does come, it'll pass you by because you weren't aligned with it the first place. Vibrations are basically the pulse of everything. Everything vibrates. And what we see physically, that's just a delayed reaction to the constant pulses of energy going on beneath the surface. So the key to shifting your reality lies in first shifting your frequency. Let me simplify that. A frequency is nothing more than a vibration repeated over and over again. Think about it like music. If you play the same note over and over again, that's what you hear. So if you've been playing the same emotional note, let's say fear, doubt, insecurity, then that's the reality that repeats. Before long, it becomes the soundtrack to your life. So all those thoughts and emotions you've been carrying, they've been like a broken record stuck on repeat, and you've probably been stuck in the same situations over and over because of that invisible soundtrack. But the good news? You have the DJ controls. You can switch the track, alter the frequency, and start playing a new beat. But that's easier said than done, right? Which brings us to the next part. How do you know if you've switched the track? How do you know if the frequency has actually shifted? Let's get into the signs. You've probably been doing all this internal work, taking notes, meditating, visualizing, practicing mindfulness. You're even getting more in touch with your emotions, trying to understand your patterns and habits. Now it's time to ask, is any of this actually making a difference? Because if you don't stop and check in with yourself periodically, you risk falling back into old patterns of thinking and acting. You know, those sneaky little habits that, by the way, love to come creeping back when you least expect it. So here we are. Has your frequency changed? This question is massive and it needs an answer. First off, let me say this. If you're feeling like your frequency hasn't changed, it's probably because you're measuring it through your eyes. You're relying too much on physical evidence. You're waiting to see things shift around you before you let yourself believe that something has changed internally. But here's the kicker. If you're looking for physical proof before you feel like you've shifted, then you're doing it all wrong. You're setting yourself up for failure. It's like waiting for the universe to say, oh, look, your reality has changed. Now you're allowed to feel better. Now, that's not how it works. It never has and it never will. You've got to get there first. In here points to heart and mind before you start seeing it reflected out there. So long as you need physical confirmation to feel like you've progressed, you're falling for the oldest trick in the book. The trick is this. Your old frequency doesn't want to let you go. Of course it doesn't. Why would it? It's been comfortable for so long, it's like wearing an old pair of shoes. They might be worn down, but they're familiar. Even if they're not comfortable anymore, you know them. And so your old frequency will do everything in its sneaky power to convince you to stay right where you are. And guess what? It's an expert at making it seem like nothing's changing, like all this work you're doing is just one big waste of time. But here's what it doesn't want you to know. Your conscious mind is more powerful than your old patterns, but those old ways, they want to hold you back. They're tricky, they're frustrating. They'll make you doubt what's happening inside your own head, even when what's happening is nothing short of a massive shift in your consciousness. And that brings me to this little nugget of wisdom. Manifestation isn't about working yourself to the bone, hoping to have everything materialize in front of you, just so you can finally feel different inside. Manifestation is about shifting to the point that all the good stuff you want, you're already feeling it. You've got to let go of waiting for the world to prove itself to you. Stop waiting to see your dreams before you allow yourself to feel secure, feel good enough, or feel successful. The fact is, the more you need the confirmation, the longer you'll be waiting. The only way to see change in your world is to become that change first, internally, energetically, vibrationally. And that's the beauty of it. When you no longer need the validation from your surroundings, that's when real transformation starts catching up. Let's take a moment here while you're doing all this internal work, while you're deep in your meditation, while you're practicing mindfulness. Your old frequency is still hanging around, doing its thing. It's like it senses you're about to move on without it, and it's not having that. It feels threatened. It's just like a clingy ex who doesn't want to see you with someone new. It knows you, the old you, intimately. It's been with you through everything, and so when it senses you're ready to evolve into something higher, it tries to create resistance. You may start doubting what you're doing. Thoughts like, is this meditation even working? Is this visualization stuff a waste of time? Start bubbling up. But here's what's happening. You're on the verge of a breakthrough, and the old frequency knows that. It's throwing a temper tantrum, you're upgrading, and it's trying to keep you in the past. Let's pause here for a moment. Take a deep breath, because you probably felt that doubt before. You probably started second-guessing yourself when you're just on the cusp of greatness. Don't let that happen. Seriously, don't fall for it. I'm telling you, don't fall for your old frequency's tricks. Here's a way to combat that. Remind yourself of how far you've come. See, the old frequency has a problem. It relies on repetition to stay alive, just like we talked about earlier. It's powered by you relearning the same old lessons, by you thinking the same thoughts over and over again. So whenever you feel doubt creeping back in, flip the narrative. Shift your focus to the progress you've made. Notice all the subtle, but real changes that have already happened inside of you. Let's recap for a second. The baseline of manifesting your reality lies in this one simple formula. You have to become okay with not seeing the change first. That's right. You have to detach completely from needing your eyes to confirm your progress. Once you start feeling good with where you are, once you become emotionally independent from needing your surroundings to validate your growth, that's when things will start moving. It's like magic, but it's not. It's real, it's you, it's science. So next time you're doubting your internal shifts because your external world hasn't changed, remember this. The external world lags, energy leads. Now earlier I promised I'd give you some specific signs that your frequency's changed, right? So here they are. The first thing to watch for is that you start to see more things you didn't notice before, or things that were maybe once boring or unrelated to your goals suddenly open up new meanings. You start catching subtleties, whether it's in a conversation, a song, a TV show, or even a random encounter in the grocery store. Insights start hitting you in waves. You connect dots between events that may have seemed disconnected before. You might even stumble upon synchronicities, those little coincidences that feel just too perfect. These are telltale signs that your awareness has expanded. If you're experiencing that, chances are your frequency's already shifted. Another sign to watch for is how you feel. When your internal frequency changes, your emotional landscape does too. You might find yourself calmer when things go wrong. Maybe you're not getting as stressed over things that would have kept you up at night before, or maybe it's the opposite. You're feeling more energized, more passionate, more alive. You're not as weighed down by old fears or anxieties. There's a lightness to your step, a deeper sense of relaxation or contentment in your daily life. This one's key. You can't fake this feeling. So if you've been noticing subtle shifts in how you emotionally react to things, congratulations, that's a sign your frequency is leveling up. And speaking of reactions, this brings me to the next big sign. Your reactions to challenges change. This is important. We all have those triggers, the little things that seem to set us off. Maybe it's a coworker who pushes your buttons. Maybe it's a family member who knows exactly where to hit you where it hurts. But if you've been noticing that you don't react the same way to those old triggers, that's another sign your frequency has shifted. Things just roll off your back differently. You don't let external chaos dictate your inner peace in the same way anymore. It's almost like you're watching life as an observer rather than constantly becoming entangled by every little thing that happens around you. When your emotional reactions are more grounded and in control, bam, your frequency has changed. There's more. Another clear indicator is how other people start reacting to you. When your frequency shifts, the universe mirrors that back to you through the actions of others. People might compliment you more, ask for your opinion more, or give you respect in ways they hadn't before. You may find that positive opportunities seem to come your way with greater ease. People want to help, offer their energy, or collaborate with you. It's almost like you've become a magnet for positive interactions, even if nothing else huge has changed in your life yet. It's a direct reflection of your upgraded vibration. So let's bring this all together. Here's the real question you're asking when you're wondering, has my frequency changed? You're actually asking yourself, is this stuff I'm doing working? And the only reason you'd ever doubt it is because you're not seeing the change in your external reality immediately. And that's exactly how your old frequency tries to trap you. It uses doubt, it uses impatience, it uses fear to keep you stuck. But now you have the tools to recognize when it's trying to pull you back and tell yourself, no, I've done the work, and the signs are there. Remember, manifestation is about shifting internally first. You become the vibration of what you want before it ever shows up on the outside. And the moment you no longer need to see the world changing to feel that you've changed, that's when you step into your power. That's when you manifest in the quickest, most authentic way. At the end of the day, the question isn't whether your reality will change. It's, are you ready to stop doubting the process and trust that you already are the change? Congrats, your frequency has shifted. Keep trusting it.